Hello, and welcome to the first Wellness Insider of 2025. My name is Nicole Porter. In case you're new to these Wellness Insiders, these are weekly videos where I'm answering your questions. So these questions could come from students who are in courses, from people who are in my seminars or workshops or at an event where I'm speaking. They could come from people who are in coaching programs. They can also come from you, even if you haven't been in a program. Somewhere around this video, you can click a link where you can submit a question to me. So that's what these videos are for. They're here to answer your questions so that you can have the clarity and the confidence that you need in order to reach your health and wellness goals. Now, since this is January and 'tis the season for habit change, I thought we would kick off the new year with a video about habit change, specifically the most overlooked piece of the puzzle when it comes to changing your habits long term. So let me back it up. I got into the fitness industry, into fitness coaching in 1990. And back then, when we taught people how to set goals, we would use the SMART acronym, SMART. And that meant that your goals needed to be specific, they needed to be measurable, they needed to be attainable, they needed to be relevant, and they needed to be timed. And so if you were somebody who wanted to lose 40 pounds, let's say, your goal couldn't be that I just want to lose weight. You had to be specific. I want to lose 40 pounds. Your goal had to be measurable, meaning maybe you're going to use the scale or an article of clothing in order to gauge your progress. It had to be attainable, meaning you couldn't just say, I want to lose 40 pounds in 1 week, because that's not attainable. So you would say something like, I want to lose 2 pounds per week. And then it had to be relevant, meaning it had to be important to you. It had to be something that you wanted to achieve. And then it had to be timed. So you would say, I want to lose 40 pounds in total. That's 2 pounds a week times 20 weeks. Now, don't get me wrong. Every goal needs to be specific and measurable and attainable and relevant and timed. But this approach generally doesn't work, at least not for long-term transformation and not for the majority of people. Unfortunately, it's still the approach that a lot of people are still using today, but it's just not motivating. And if it's not motivating, then you are going to have to rely on willpower in order to change your habits. And we do not want to have to rely on willpower to change our habits, especially long term. So, what do I recommend instead? Well, first of all, you need to understand that when it comes to changing habits, we're motivated by one of two reasons. We either want to avoid pain or we want to gain pleasure. So, you might be somebody who wants to avoid having a heart attack or being on medication. Maybe you want to avoid the physical or mental or emotional pain of carrying extra weight. For me, years ago, I wanted to avoid the pain of migraines. Or maybe you're somebody who's motivated by pleasure. You want to experience the pleasure of not having sugar cravings. You want the pleasure of traveling or socializing or creating memorable experiences with your family and friends. Maybe you want to be healthy enough to experience the joy and the pleasure of being able to walk your daughter down the aisle. Whatever it is, everyone either wants to avoid pain or gain pleasure. Now, the reality is we are way more inclined to want to avoid pain than we are to gain pleasure. I mean, if you think about it, would you rather avoid the pain of losing $100,000, or would you rather enjoy the pleasure of saving $100,000? Most people would say they would rather avoid the pain of losing that money. And whether your goal is financial or health related, we're all the same. Generally speaking, especially at the beginning of the habit change process, we are motivated by pain. And that's okay, because avoiding pain can be a phenomenal motivator. It was for me years ago. Back in 1997, I dramatically changed my diet, pretty much cut out sugar, made a lot of different changes to my diet in order to avoid getting migraines. And I had unbelievable sugar cravings. I was getting these migraines 3 to 6 days a month, completely knocking me out to the point where I was throwing up and sleeping on the bathroom floor. So, was it a motivator for me to avoid pain? Absolutely. Is avoiding pain still my motivator today? Yes, to some degree. But my motivation also is to gain pleasure. And it's the pleasure piece that can really be the game changer, because it's the addiction to the pleasure, the addiction to feeling awesome, that can keep us motivated long term. So the question is, how do you gain pleasure when it seems like all we can do is relate to pain? We can relate to the pain of having uncontrollable cravings, or being overweight, or having pain in our bodies, or being tired every morning you wake up, tired all day long, having digestive issues, anxiety, depression, dealing with really serious disease. How do we get away from that pain to get a taste of pleasure before we've even experienced it? Well, the answer is you create your intention. Now, stick with me here. I am telling you, this is the game changer. What is an intention? An intention is a vivid, sensory rich, emotionally charged, and therefore motivating future scenario that reflects your desired results, your desired outcomes in advance. It's you getting a taste of what it feels like to feel awesome before you even feel awesome. You could say it's your why, you could say it's your vision, but it's also the feeling, the feelings, the sensory rich scenario that you are going to experience when you achieve this goal. And that's what's missing in all of these goal setting frameworks. It's the feeling, it's that emotionally charged motivation. Because if you aren't emotional about your goal, if you don't have some sort of emotional attachment to it, then you're not going to have the motivation, especially long term. I mean, to say I'm going to lose 2 pounds per week, I'm going to do that by cutting calories, working out more, weighing myself on the scale every morning or every week, and I'm going to lose 20 pounds in 40 weeks. I mean, that is boring. That is not motivating. That might motivate you for a short period of time, but that's not going to motivate you long term. And what are we here for? We're not here to change habits short term. We're here to change habits for good. We don't want to keep going back to this habit change cycle over and over and over again. My goal is that in January, you don't have any resolutions. You're just healthy and happy and motivated always. So I want to share an example of a client's intention, just so you have an idea of what I'm talking about when I say emotionally charged and sensory rich and vivid. So this client was someone who said she'd lost herself when she had kids. She was running a business. Her healthy habits really got out of control. And when I met her, she was overweight. She wanted to lose about 40 pounds. She was borderline diabetic, and she had a lot of pain in her body. And she was also really beating herself up, especially because her health was affecting every aspect of her life, her kids, her husband, her business. And she was so clear what she wanted. She wanted to lose the 40 pounds at least and improve on the symptoms that I just mentioned. She also wanted to be happier for herself and for everyone else around her. And remember, she's writing this in the future as if it's already happened. So this is what she said: I own my life. I'm in control of my body and my mind. I'm at an event where I've won the most coveted award in my industry. I'm on stage. My team is so excited, and even my toughest competitors are celebrating my win. The award is heavier than I thought, but it feels like it's meant to be in my hands. And I'm giving you a little bit of an excerpt here. In the more detailed one, she really defined how that award even felt. Again, sensory rich. She says, I'm comfortable in my skin. I'm confident. I hold my head up high. I speak with conviction. I feel like I'm floating, and everything, including how my body moves, is easy. I'm present with the people around me, having fun, laughing, feeling free, and success is familiar again. I will never lose this feeling. Every time I read that, I get goosebumps. I've realized that because I'm no longer critical of myself, I'm no longer critical of others, including my partner and my kids. I love everything about my life. I'm grateful. This is a key piece too. You've got to be grateful for it. I'm grateful for the challenges I've faced and the work that I've done to get here. And I'm ecstatic to be able to say that I know I'm worth it. So, what do you think? Was her weight loss journey motivated by, I want to lose 2 pounds a week times 20 weeks to get to 40 pounds? Or is this future scenario motivating? I'll tell you, this future scenario was motivating to her. Weight loss, especially, is never about a number on the scale. It is never about a number. We might think it is, but it is never about a number on the scale. It is always about something so much more motivating, so much more impactful, and so much more inspiring. And by the way, she did win that award that she's talking about holding on that stage. And she didn't just lose 40 pounds, she lost 52 pounds. And it is because she was so clear on how she wanted to feel when she was successful. She was so clear on how she defined success. So I don't know if you know who Jim Rohn was. Jim Rohn was an author. He was an incredibly inspiring motivational speaker, just said it like it was. And I love this quote. He says, if the why is powerful, the how is easy. We get so wrapped up in how we're going to get things done. And we're missing that first step, that critical step. And that's the why, the vision, the feeling. So we've got to get clear on what we want. What does it look like? And more importantly, what does it feel like? And then the rest can follow. You know, people so often will think that habit change is a matter of time, that it's a matter of 3 weeks. Habit change is not a matter of time. It's not a matter of 3 weeks. It is not a matter of willpower, or it doesn't have to be. If you really want to change your habits, and I know you do, if you want to change those habits long term, you've got to first design your intention. So I will leave it there for this week's Wellness Insider. If you have any questions about this video, or you've got other questions that you want me to answer in future insiders, then click the link that is somewhere around this video. Otherwise, make sure you like and subscribe and share this video with anyone who you think could benefit. I will see you in next week's Wellness Insider. Until then, be well.